So lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, another DEI game from a subsidiary of Sony themselves is making the rounds on the internet after Concord's incredible failure, with only double-digit players and a lack of sales and refunds being given out to everybody now as the game is shutting down. Concord has proven to be one of Sony's biggest failures, and now I wonder if this new DEI game that has not yet released is going to follow in those same footsteps, because we've got a story from that park place and a rabbit hole that I'm going to take you guys down, and believe me, it goes deep. But first, we're going to read the story from John F. Trent. So after Concord gets shut down, gamers take aim at anti-capitalist Fairgame. So it says in the wake of Firewalk Studios and PlayStation shutting down Concord after just 2 weeks, gamers are already setting their sights on boycotting the anti-capitalist game Fairgames from Haven Studios. Interesting. So Haven Studios is a subsidiary of PlayStation Studios, and Sony Interactive Entertainment announced the game with a CGI trailer back in May 2023, and I believe that Sony acquired this studio back in 2022, so they've been a part of Sony for a hot minute. As you can see below, this trailer features a voiceover that states too much money and too much power is held by just a few people, and it's only getting worse, so we decided to do something about it. We're gonna steal all their money, all of those hard-earned dollars from those selfish billionaires. Anti-capitalism at its finest, and it says it then features a team robbing tractor trailers, warehouses, penthouses, and more. So this game is about a bunch of college students, much of them diverse, teaming up and banding together to rob the rich. One of those rich individuals may have a very interesting backstory, and we're going to go over that too. The official description attached to the trailer stated, "Welcome to Fairgames, your chance to rob the rich and rebalance the scales." Fairgames is a competitive modern heist game where you team up to break into exotic locations and steal the cargo. The twist? You not only need to outsmart guards and security systems, but you also compete against other teams. So it's a multiplayer game, and to me it sounds a lot like The Finals, which is a game that me and my brother played, and it was a first-person shooter, team-based, and your objective was to gather as much money as you could from the opposing team or from standing kiosks before time runs out. And this game is reminding me a lot of that, and not in a good way. It just seems like a copy and paste of other shooters that we've already seen before. In fact, this is reminding a lot of other gamers of a different type of shooter, and they keep pointing it out, especially in the comments on that very specific post that is being reported on by that park place. It concluded, "Crews that extract with the most loot and flair might just rise to the top of Fairgames. Take it till you make it. Who will you recruit first for your crew?" Again, Sony is trying to push DEI, and this appears to be a title that is doing exactly that. It's funny because the more that you look into this game, the more that the cracks begin to show. In an accompanying blog post, creative director Matthew Ledoux describes the game as a fresh, modern take on the heist game. In a nutshell, this is a thrilling competitive heist game where you join an underground movement to rob the ultra-rich and rebalance the scales. He talks about how you can be a Robin Hood and you can trespass inside forbidden locations, but he also made clear that the game was pushing inclusiveness. Of course it is. It's amazing how they're always trying to push inclusiveness. Quote, "Every member of our team shares our vision to create welcoming and inclusive multiplayer experiences that glue communities together. The shared enthusiasm is the driving force behind our heist fantasy. How it really encourages you to work together in crews to plan and execute epic heists in the style and fashion that you want." And then some gamers out there started making fun of it, including Manga Lawyer, who pointed the game out to people initially yesterday. But what I want to do is go to the post from PlayStation itself so I can take a look at this game and what they're actually talking about. And it was confirmed right here that they are pushing for inclusiveness, inclusive multiplayer experiences. I gotta show you guys some of these comments before I move on, because these people have been insulting this game since last year. This is literally hyenas, this person says. Another one says, "Wow, I'm instantly out. How fast does it take to completely lose interest in an upcoming project? This trailer, LOL, what a waste of good talent." And this person said, "I thought Haven had something special, but what I have seen, it looks very generic. Anyway, multiplayer crap, so I'm not your audience. Good luck with the game." Someone said that they're cautiously optimistic, but then other people say that it's generic looking live service crap. "We didn't buy PS5s for live service garbage like this. Fairgames lost me at PvP. Bye. FCK communism and PC." Yeah, this was a very bad showcase. People hate this game, and it has not even shown them gameplay yet. But it gets so much worse than that, my friends. Far worse than you can possibly imagine. So first, let's take a look at the YouTube video itself from a year ago, which has 3.7 thousand likes and is getting destroyed by a ratio of 23,000 dislikes. People despise this game, and in fact, in the comments, they are warning Sony against pushing this game out to customers. You can actually feel Sony sweating nervously through the screen. This is from 6 days ago, so people are finding out about this game and they're coming back to an old video to start talking to Sony about this. They say these developers are definitely sweating buckets right now, and somebody said 10 days ago, you sure you want to go through with this after Concord, Sony? And they say stop giving your money to people that hate you, and there's a lot to go over in this trailer, so I'm only going to touch on a couple of things. I'll show you some gameplay, but first you have to see this list that I paused on. It shows that there is a list of billionaires that the protagonists of the game are targeting to steal money from. One of them is at the number 2 spot, and his name is Elliot Moore at 105 billion. But the funny thing is that his name looks a lot like Elon Musk, and I wonder if this was intentional. After all, this is an anti-capitalist game. It's not a mystery that these people are pushing DEI behind the scenes, and I will show you exactly why in just a minute, but this seems a little bit too on the nose for these game developers. Are they trying to suggest that they're going to go after people like Elon Musk in this game and that he's one of the evil corpo billionaires that has so much money and is hoarding it from literally everybody? I do indeed wonder about that. But let's take a look at Haven Studios' page on X itself. Haven Studios, we create havens for endless wonder. And they're based in Montreal, so they wrote in a different language here. I translated it from French. We create havens for endless wonder. We create portals to wonder. We're hiring. Join our team. They have about 18 positions open, and I know this because I've been looking them up and researching them all morning. We foster a studio committed to equality, acceptance, and kindness for all, and celebrate the diversity not only of skin color and ethnicities and whatnot, but of sexual and gender identities. How much does that have to do with a video game? Beats me, but they sure do want to push this really hard. And this reflects not only in their game development, but it is also reflected on their website as well as the people who used to work at this company. And again, it is amazing that their pinned tweet is about something completely unrelated to video games, and it is again pushing social concepts. And that's something that we see continuously as you scroll down their page. They retweeted something from PlayStation, this Global Accessibility Awareness Day, get to know 5 community members who are working to create lasting change. And then right after that, Haven Studios says to close out the Women at Haven series, we have Vanessa, one of our outstanding animators, bringing Fairgames to life. And this goes on and on and on. The Women at Haven, Women at Haven, Women at Haven. They just keep posting about it. They've been posting it since the beginning of March all the way up into June, where they switch it up finally. But you know what? Maybe there is more to Haven Studios than meets the eye. Maybe I don't have to worry about the fact that they're based in Montreal, just like Sweet Baby Inc. is, or that they're followed by Firewalk. Maybe that's just because Firewalk is also a subsidiary of Sony. But that's okay. Let's take a look at their website. Haven Culture. We exist to craft havens that spark endless wonder. And just so you know, I couldn't show you the main page because for some reason when I open that thing up, the animations just crop up instantly at the same time and slows my computer way down until it's done with all of its animating crap. And I even tried this on Google Chrome to see if there was a different result. I guess my computer can't handle everything that they're trying to throw at you on the home page. So I waited for it to load and I went to this page. We're creators, designers, engineers, artists, and builders, but we're also players. Now, I would love to remind you that these people are trying to push diversity, equity, and inclusion. So why is it that most of the people that they are showcasing on their website are all white people? Look, white, 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 all white people. So diverse, so inclusive. I wonder how committed they are to this agenda. Very interesting. Let's take a look at another page introducing Fairgames, a competitive heist experience coming to PS5 and PC. And this is their blog in which they show off a bunch of their employees at conferences and giving speeches. And it's always the same white people that are not diverse or inclusive trying to talk about diversity and equity and inclusion. Matthew Ledoux, creative director, co-founder at Haven Studios Incorporated. So this is the guy that is running the show. And I went over to his LinkedIn just because I was curious about what kind of work history this guy has had. And he's actually worked as a senior art director for Electronic Arts, and he also worked for Ubisoft for 9 years and 9 months, which is an incredibly long time. He has actually worked on classic games that we all used to play when we were younger, and not just him, but also his co-founder Jade Raymond, who was an executive producer on Assassin's Creed 2. She's been in the game for a long time, and so has he. And Sony is definitely funding their project, so they've got another DEI title on the way, and these games are not very different from one another. The problem that I'm seeing is that this company is struggling with improving on their diverse, equitous, and inclusive workforce, as shown by the very people that work for them. And even though this thing has 5 stars, they're still getting complaints. And you would not believe what some of these complaints entail. One of them that I pointed out was somebody that said a team that really values kindness and gave them 5 stars, but one of their cons made me cackle out loud. A bit lacking in diversity of being and of work background, but shows signs of improving and seems to be a real priority for the company. I mean, does it? I haven't really seen a diverse workforce from all of the images that I have seen of the company. Maybe they are doing something to mitigate it, but you know what? Who cares about a diverse workforce? How about just being good at your job? Well, that's all right. What other comments do we have to read today? Everyone's saying that they are a wonderful group of people to work with, and here's a pro from somebody who used to work there, already aware of the diversity bias that the game industry has and is giving itself tools to improve the situation from the beginning. Sometimes I feel like these reviews are manufactured so that people that read it will see that this company is trying to push diversity, equity, and inclusion as best as they can. Some of these people have put that fact either in the cons or the pros, but it really is weird. I mean, why would you use the inclusion of DEI or lack thereof in a review for a company? I just don't think that this kind of thing matters, but people really do love to say that they are diverse and equitous and inclusive and that they're trying to push for it and improve upon it. Another person says in the pros that that's exactly what they're doing. Great work-life balance, good benefits, management listens to the employees, real efforts are put into place to increase diversity and inclusion. So, if you had any questions as to whether this company was trying to push diversity and inclusion, well, you have everything that you need right here. It's just so strange that these people who used to make such amazing games for us way back in the day are now making video games that gamers despise. I wonder how much of this is their own doing, or if they've had outside help from gaming consultancy agencies or something. Their workforce really is not that diverse at all, unless you count men and women as a diversity factor, but really, I mean, men and women are just men and women. And usually when I hear that a company is parroting DEI as hard as they can, they have like the most diverse company ever. Just mind-blowing. These people who used to make Assassin's Creed 2 and people who've worked for Ubisoft for almost a decade, left Ubisoft, gone their own way, and they're still pushing the same things that Ubisoft, modern day Ubisoft that is, are trying to push onto gamers. Is that really something that they want to do after seeing everything that's happened to Concord over the past couple of months? I don't know. Maybe they think that their game will actually succeed. Speaking of Ubisoft, let's go back to what they're doing after the release of their newest game, Star Wars Outlaws. As per IGN, Ubisoft shares take a hit as analysts predict lower than expected Star Wars Outlaws sales. That's insane. They took a hit. They did not increase their shareholder value after the release of Star Wars Outlaws, which was basically Assassin's Creed, but Star Wars, just Star Wars Creed. And it says that Massive Entertainment's Star Wars Outlaws, the first open world Star Wars video game, launched on August 27th, and since then, Ubisoft's share price has fallen 12.6% to a near 10-year low of 15.22 euros. At the time of this article's publication, Ubisoft was valued at 1.96 billion euro. This game is doing horribly, but it gets even worse. The analysts lowered sales expectations for Outlaws by 2 million units to 5.5 million for the current financial year, which ends March 2025. Its development budget was said to be at least 30% higher than that of 2023's Assassin's Creed Mirage, but it says that Twitch data suggests that Outlaws is underperforming. It's underperforming Mirage by about 15%, so an Assassin's Creed game that went very much under the radar for a lot of gamers is doing better financially than a Star Wars title from Ubisoft. How pathetic is that? Super pathetic. It's terrible. Concord failed, Star Wars Outlaws failed. I wonder if this game is next? We got to see those stocks for ourselves. We got to see what is happening to Ubisoft shareholder value. Oh my goodness. It has been destroyed. This happened exactly on August 30th, the day that the game officially released, Star Wars Outlaws. The 27th was the early access release date for people who pre-ordered by spending $110, only to get screwed days later after their saves were deleted by Ubisoft via a brand new patch that nobody asked for. So that is amazing, and the price has just been going downhill ever since. It really is showing zero signs of recovery. I mean, this is a pretty significant drop on the day of release. I mean, isn't the share price supposed to go up when you release a brand new video game that you say many people are really excited about? It seems that the analysts working at Ubisoft should be fired because they're not doing their job correctly. They keep saying that this game is going to succeed, but every single day that passes by, people realize how much of a lie that truly is. Interestingly, though, it's not just Star Wars Outlaws that is tanking this share price. Apparently, it is other games from Ubisoft that are affecting this as well. I'm sure Skull and Bones had a little bit to do with that as well, but Outlaws isn't the only game seemingly impacting Ubisoft shares. Free-to-play Call of Duty rival X-Defiant also appears to be having a tough time. Midcap Partners analyst Charles Louis Planada or whatever told Reuters X-Defiant has seen lower than expected interest following a strong launch in May. IGN of course asked for a comment, but I doubt we're gonna get any comment because Ubisoft is trying to sweep all of this under the rug. They're trying to get through to their next release, Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is also another game that is likely going to be a financial disaster, although I've been wrong before. It could sell millions and millions of copies. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in the gaming market, but from what I've seen on Assassin's Creed Shadows so far and from every other Ubisoft title that's come out in the last year or so, things are not looking up for this title. This game would have to not only succeed, but it would have to succeed massively and exceed the expectations of Star Wars Outlaws by at least a few miles in order to at least break even and make their quota, which I don't think is going to happen ultimately because this game is riddled in controversy and far too many people are on the fence about it. They're not 100% in on the Yasuke D.E.I. Assassin's Creed video game, but we'll see how that game does. We'll also see how this new game does, and we're going to take a look at some of this gameplay. That's not just the Billionaire list here, but I want to show you what they actually have in store for people. But guess what? There is no gameplay. It's all cutscenes. Yep. It's all just CGI animation with absolutely no gameplay to show for it. It's been about a year since they've announced this game, and they have not shown players anything. But it does look as generic and ham-fisted as every other college students attacking rich people games that you've seen in the past, like The Finals and Payday and other games like that. They keep pushing out these games that have DEI in them, but these games that have DEI in them are not original designs. They're just copy-pastes from other games. Like this game is copying off of 3 other different heist games, and Concord, which is a spectacular financial failure for Sony, is a copy-paste of Overwatch and other games like that. Star Wars Outlaws, of course, is just Star Wars Creed, and people are starting to really despise Ubisoft as they have not evolved as a company for the last decade. In fact, they have gone downhill since then, literally, because if you take a look at their stocks, they've not been doing well over all time. Remember, they started very low, moved up, and now they're lower than they were when they started. It's not going well for Ubisoft. So let me present you all with a question, which is something I do not often do. Are you looking forward to this game called Fairgames? Do you like these games that have DEI infused in them and made by companies that want to push inclusiveness and diversity and equity? Do you take a company like this seriously when it's very clear that they're not pushing those ideals that they claim they harbor so hard? Let me know in the comments what you all think, and we will see exactly where this game goes before long. And that is all I've got for you guys in this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.